So we were pretty deep into this already, so we kind of had to cut it off at a weird spot, but let's just keep going.
Okay, so we were at... I had to sleep at that pavilion. The guy gave me the pizza.
What kind of pizza are we talking about?
We're talking Tombstone, remember? No, it was just a local pizza.
Oh, yeah.
And then he gave me the Bud Lime. And...
Bud Lime?
Yeah.
More like Bud Lame.
It was pretty shitty.
Jesus Christ. Let's just... Okay, so we stopped... So we stopped the second part of this, and he comes up with this pun afterwards, and he's like, let's set this up so that I can use that pun. We had to do a recap so he could say that.
Yeah, it was the Bud Lime lame line.
And it was so genius that we had to set it up.
We had to stop right there and do it again. Retake. So I leave this guy Jordan's house. He smokes me up, gives me breakfast. Go down the road a bit, and I get to this town, and I stop at this diner, and I don't really say too much to people. I just put my big backpack next to me at the bar table thing or whatever, and they start asking me like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And like I start telling them, and they let me eat there for free. So that was cool. I got to eat that at that diner for free. And then I went down the road another like 25 miles or so, and I made it outside of Darien Lake. I was pretty close to Six Flags, and I stop at this old couple's house, and I asked them if I can camp out. And the old lady's like, "Oh, you got to ask my husband. He's in the garage out back."
I've heard this story before.
And I asked him.
Why is it always garages? God damn. You got to be scared of garages now after the fucking dude with the gun.
And frickin' I asked him, and he's like, "Yeah, sure, you can set up." And I'm setting up, and the old lady's going through her car, and then she comes up to me, and she is giving me $15 worth of quarters.
Jesus.
And I'm like,
now, are they in the rolls, or are they just quarters?
Just in a bag.
Loose quarters.
And I'm like, God damn it, all this weight. Okay, I'm going to go down to the bar here and get some food, try to spend them, so I don't have to carry them. And I'm like, oh, thank you. I'm going to go down to the bar, get some food. They call down to the bar. They tell them, whatever the skateboarder kid is getting, we're going to pay for it. So that entire day, I didn't pay for anything.
Just order one of everything.
People fed me. It was great. Jordan right off the bat, the diner, then them, and I got pretty drunk too. The cool thing about skating across the country, I didn't bring any bud or anything. I didn't. I sweated everything out.
It was all charity,
and I and I would have 2 or 3 beers. I was catching a hard buzz. Like I'd smoke, take one hit, I was tripping.
Well, it's the exhaustion too. Like it's the amount of energy you've expended. It does affect that. Like it really does.
And probably sweating it all out. Like, yeah, that's probably a huge part.
And the idea of having no food.
Yeah.
You know, things like that. It really just amplifies what you're getting.
Totally. And so I wake up the next day. The lady feeds me breakfast. I skate through, and I'm on Route 20, and my goal today is to get through Buffalo. And
so now you have like vlogs basically on YouTube.
Yep.
People can find those.
Yep. Cassidy Barney is my YouTube name and my real name.
And you can just search for that, and it'll come up.
Yep. There's another Cassidy Barney, but you'll see the picture of the skateboarder.
I'm the other one. I need views. So I named it Cassidy Barney so I can trick people into
It's just videos of people with whipped cream and Fruity Pebbles.
They're like, oh, you're skateboarding across America. I can't keep up. Oh yeah, YouTube at Cassidy Barney. And I made Cassidy Barney, and it's just videos of me in a black mask just talking shit about whales. And it's just gonna confuse everybody.
All my videos are called Fuck Whales.
Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, and then I have a compilation that's all the
reasons to hate whales.
The fuck whale puns.
Yeah. Top 10 reasons to hate whales.
So I'm skating towards Rochester. I go to a diner. I had to pay for this one, though.
So you're not very far, like in the grand scheme of things here.
No. Yeah, I'm just in Buffalo. I'm on day 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'm on day 3 or day 4.
How many days is this whole thing total?
80.
Jesus, that's a long trip.
Yep.
Did you fly back?
Somebody actually paid for my bus ticket back when I was going through Missouri. They saw me and they're like, "Oh, cool." And I had some cash on me, and they gave their dog to somebody that told them that they had a yard, but they lived like in an apartment, like in a building, like a skyscraper almost. And they didn't know that, and the person was working 12-hour shifts and stuff like that. And they're like, "Yo, we gotta get the dog back," and they're not letting us take the dog back unless we pay him $100. Is there any way I could borrow $100 from you? And I was like, "Yeah, sure."
Mm-hmm.
And then he paid for my bus ticket back, so it ended up working out for me.
That's cool.
And yeah. So I'm skating through Buffalo, and I'm starting to go through like more black neighborhoods. And I stopped at this one vegan restaurant that was in the black neighborhood. That was pretty cool. It was okay food. The pizza was actually shitty, but the other food there was really good.
Yeah.
And
it wasn't DiGiorno, let's say that much.
Yeah. And I'm skating down the road, and then it starts getting a little more ghetto, and more people hanging out on the stoops, and they're all giving me the weird look and freaking...
How was your beard while this was going on?
I was shaved right before all this, so I grew my beard during this whole thing.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's how biology works.
Well, I never grew a beard before that, though.
Really?
I only had burns.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
The mutton chop.
I haven't seen you in so long. It's crazy. Probably like 4 years, right?
Yeah,
maybe
since,
3 or 4 years.
Yeah, other than in passing, probably at Wes's house at that one Halloween party.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I haven't really seen you in a long time. Same as you. Other than that one time we were out in the street.
That narrows it down.
No, it doesn't. No, it does not. It does not narrow it down at all.
I think people see me walking down the street more than people see me at work.
Walking down the street.
Machines within.
I saw that. Yo, we should make a metal song of that.
Yeah, we should.
Dun, dun, dun.
Just use the sound clips from the video. We could just pull it from YouTube. I don't think it's copyrighted. It's just that one. It's what's his name, Cutter the Killer Clown or some shit.
You got to do a metal cover of the intro song.
Mm-hmm. We could do that. That's uncopyrighted too.
So I'm skating through these neighborhoods, and at a few points where they're like, "What are you doing, white boy?" And I'm like, just keep on skating, just don't stop. And mind you, I broke my big toe 1 month before I left.
On your right foot?
On my right foot.
Oh, so it's your push foot then?
Yep. Here, let me show you guys.
Because I pushed
fucked up my toe is. You can see it through my sock. You see how this sticks out like that compared to that one?
Yeah, it sticks out like a sword thumb.
I was playing The Floor is Lava.
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying.
And I fell like this, and it, like that, and it broke. And now, when I bend this toe, this one goes normal. When I bend this one, it goes like in.
Okay.
It cracks now, and so... Yeah. So at this point, I'm pushing off of my heel. I'm pushing off of my the blade of my foot.
Balls of your feet, basically. Yeah.
Or not even the ball, just the blade.
Okay.
That part.
And
okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I push goofy, so I would use my left foot.
I tried to practice pushing left foot before I left with 65 pounds on your back.
So much harder switching sides, dude. I could never skate switch. I never could do it.
It's like pitching left-handed.
I can switch. I can do fakie.
Yeah.
But I can't do fucking switch.
Yep.
Fuck that shit.
Push is my favorite Matchbox 20 song.
Okay.
And so I eventually get into downtown Buffalo where there's skyscrapers and everything. went down West Genesee Street, and I've always heard West Genesee Street like in the news, like, oh, there's a stabbing on West Genesee Street, and blah, 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 blah. Like,
yeah, that's a bad area.
That's what I skated through. That's where frickin' all the people are hanging out on the stoops and looking at me weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was skating down the center of the road.
Jesus.
Yeah, that way the different gangs didn't know who to claim. They couldn't claim you. You were in like the 48th parallel.
They couldn't just grab me.
Yeah, it's like North South Korea.
But it was pretty scary because I was exhausted. I'm freaking.
Was it scary because it was black, or was it scary because?
No, just because like I'm
history of it.
I'm sticking out like a sore thumb, and like it not even like my toe. I'm sticking out like a Cass Barney toe. And yeah, I still haven't gotten it broken. I skated across America without health insurance too. So if I fucked up, I'd be paying thousands of dollars for anything, which is amazing in amongst itself. I look back on that like, what? You
didn't get, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But you didn't get injured or nothing? Or?
I fell on my face once. And in Kansas.
Cut it up or?
Yeah. It was,
It's a little bit of road rash.
Yeah. And I should have asked you this when you were talking about the wheels.
Mm-hmm. They don't get speed wobble.
What's that?
They do not get speed wobble compared to other wheels.
So like if you hit like a pebble or something.
So now you tightened your trucks like super hard, right? Or no?
They're medium. I keep it about medium actually, where I'm still able to
actually steer.
I've never skated. I remember your brother actually tried to teach me how to skateboard when we were like 12 or 13, and I tried to do an ollie and the board came right up and hit me right in the mouth, and I never touched a skateboard again.
Yeah.
But
you pulled your front foot off way too hard. That's what happened.
I also designed my own skateboard for the trip as well.
Yeah.
Like again, from the first trip in 2012, we redesigned it, made it better, made it lighter, stronger, and
I always had the tightest fucking trucks because I mean it was just a trick skateboard, so it's like
that's what
I would just pull up the front end and
what I know of skateboards is if you hit even like a rock like this big,
it's fucking
with the
rocks.
rocks.
Have that problem?
Because since the grooves, I wouldn't, and also since like there's the 3 grooves, it had more chance of shooting it out, and also it wouldn't stop me. No,
so it's 3 grooves and they
unless
wave
I hit something like
from
the size
from
of
what I
almost
remember
a golf ball or something
if you hit
like that.
something like
yeah. From what I remember, it's the 3 grooves that kind of go back and forth.
And it kind of like would adjust it a little bit to the side if you do hit one or whatever.
You'd be fine if you were going through pebbles or say fruity pebbles.
I try to avoid those, but on my face. I actually freaking when I did fall in Kansas, like it was stupid because right before then I was just like saying to myself, all right, I can't fuck around anymore. Like actually I wasn't in Kansas. I could see Kansas from there.
Did you
are we talking about the band Kansas or the
state? They were at Harborfest when he was
Oh yeah, that's right.
Across America. So what was West Genesee Street the scariest place?
Oh no, actually no. But
I don't want to like fast forward.
Yeah. Okay. Let me continue rather than jumping ahead to Kansas.
Yeah. What we'll do is we'll have you on again. Is what we'll do.
Yeah. Totally.
Because
go through the whole trip.
There's a lot to it for sure. Yeah. No doubt.
And I got way more puns, man. I'll be locked and loaded.
He has a lot of puns. Yeah. We'll be sure to take breaks before. And we'll take more breaks so you can come up with more puns.
Or we'll retcon parts of the story. There's certain parts of the story. How about this? How about you send me the full story, and then I will think of puns that go along with the story, and then I'll also think of ways to change your story so I can have better puns. Because that's what it's all about. The Clear Shots Puncast.
Why didn't we call it that, dude? We fucked up. We're gonna have to go back retroactively and change everything.
So I get through Buffalo and zigzag my way through the streets to eventually get onto Route 5. And I knock on a few people's houses. They say no, I can't stay there. Eventually knock on this one woman's house, and this lady in a karate gi uniform approaches the door, and she has a yellow belt on. And she's like an old lady, like 60 years old or so, white hair. And And I start telling her my spiel. Hi, my name's Cassidy Barney. I'm skateboarding across America to raise awareness about the current state of our ocean, blah, blah, blah. And,
etc.
And she's just like, oh, yeah, hang on. Let me get my mom. And this older lady comes, and she comes to the door, and like the older lady is inviting me into the house for dinner before I'm even done telling her the spiel again. And she's like, oh, do you want a shower? Do you want some food? Do you want a blah, blah, blah? And she was really Catholic, and she starts showing me her like, oh, this is my Mary statue and blah, 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 blah. And like really getting religious stuff, and starts asking me my politics and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't really know what I am. I don't know if I'm a Democrat or Republican or whatever.
You know, I think a lot of people, what's weird is a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like a lot of people really don't know if they're Democrat or Republican. It's like, which is a good thing, I guess.
Yeah. I guess I'd be more libertarian or independent, more independent. I try to be as center as I can, I guess.
Yeah, I think I definitely a little bit to the left, but definitely not fucking far left.
Like,
crazy
the
bullshit.
thing I don't like about Bernie Sanders is his stance on guns, but other than that, frickin' I'm all about Bernie.
Yeah.
Most important question.
Yes.
Did you get laid while you were going across America?
I had a female waiting for me at home, so no.
No, are you saying that because you don't want her to know that you got laid going across America?
She actually gave me free reign. She was like, yeah, you can if you want. I was like, oh shit, but I don't know.
Pretty cool.
I didn't really pursue it, and
dude, it's like
I was honestly, the reason I'm asking this is because I was expecting like the old lady to be like, you could stay here, Sonny, but you gotta show me a good time.
Oh God,
yeah.
Bring me back. I'll show you my peppermint twist.
I think the undertaking of going across the fucking country is enough to think about, you know, mentally, like stress wise and things like that.
Yeah, so you gotta like relieve your stress.
I don't know if it's relieving your stress. I feel like
I'm too busy. I didn't even freaking need to jerk off pretty much.
Exactly,
like,
yeah.
It was just too...
There's too much...
That was my second
focused.
question.
There's too much focus. I think you have to have focus for that. You can't be wavering and...
It was a...
No, I understand. I understand.
I was curious.
I had a few opportunities where like girls were like definitely like into me, but I was just like, like I guess like, so with all these new terms and stuff like that, I guess the one that I would associate with, even though I don't like putting myself in a box with names and stuff like that, is I'm demisexual, which means I'm only sexually attracted to like people that I've had like actual
an actual like
time with and a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't just go out and have a one night stand with people. That's just not me. I've done it, and I feel weird. It's not me. It's like I just can't do it. And that's
the thing that gets me is like, I'm not against any of this stuff, but I don't get, there's so many categories now. It's just getting,
it's a lot of Latin words, though. They're already words that are things, and they're just putting them to words. And yes, a lot of it is confusing and stuff. And I have a few trans friends. And
are you still dating that girl that works at Ruby Tuesday there?
Yeah. Yep. Dan.
Okay. Yeah. I had a conversation with her on Facebook, and it's weird because like when you talk to someone who is dealing with that, you don't like, I don't know these things. Like I really don't.
Yep.
Like, because I don't experience it firsthand. So I don't know the intricacies, like the ins and outs of these things.
It's definitely been a really eye-opening experience into that world living with her.
So what does she consider herself? Like, what is she?
She says she's gender fluid, and
she's, from what I got from the conversation, was that she has a lot of male traits, like interests, I guess.
Yeah.
And she considers herself that way in a sense because she feels that way.
Mm-hmm. And there's like, so like in like past life and stuff, like I believe I lived
also, am I right?
lives.
Am I right in saying she though? Like, is she one of...
that's fine. Yeah, she's perfectly fine being called she. She knows that she outwardly she identifies as female and stuff like that, and she's fine. She's at no point have I had to call her hey, or like a dude or whatever. She's Danny, and if anything, it's like more. She'll like, okay, I'm like, she'll dress like a boy or whatever when she's like gonna go do something, you know, like, and kind of like, it's kind of like.
I think that I didn't mean to cut you off. No, I think the part that confuses me is that growing up, and you guys probably, because you've known me since I was pretty little, you've known me since, and just personally, I never had any issue trying to express myself or be. I've always been just. Whatever, I've always just been Jake. Yeah. So I think the part that confuses me is that I can't really, like Seth said, you can't really relate to it it's not that I can't relate to it because I'm not experiencing it. It's just I can't even comprehend how that'd be.
I think difficult. What it is like, so I believe that I've lived in other bodies before, past lives and stuff like that. I believe that I've been both male and female in past lives, and the way I would guess it would be like some people feel so weird in this body that they're just so used to being female that they just like, oh, I can't.
You could have been like a female for like multiple lives, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're a male or something.
Yeah. So that's where people just don't feel comfortable, and like it's kind of like the way I look at it is like, even though I don't understand it and stuff like that, I have a few trans friends, and like. It doesn't really affect me really at all. I let people be them. And it's also like in America, like our goal is we're trying to be free, and like
people should be allowed to do that.
Yeah. People should be allowed to be able to, it doesn't affect me. It's not affecting me. What really freaks a lot of people out, they imagine the old dude wearing weird makeup that definitely doesn't look like a girl that is like going into the lambs. That, yeah. So
okay, that's
where people's minds go, where people think like that. But honestly, we've seen so many trans people where like you didn't even know that they were trans and could have been just because they're just a girl, you know.
I think the argument for me, and I don't know if it wasn't really an argument. I mean, it got heated a little bit.
Yeah, I saw it.
It's because I don't, like I said, I don't understand it.
Yeah,
and it's one of those things where I was like, well, you know, I get that, like, if you're a little girl and you're playing with dinosaurs and Hot Wheels, that maybe you kind of associate with the idea that you might want to identify as a boy. But it's like, why can't you just have those traits and have those interests?
Yeah. Why does it have to be? Why does it have to have the label?
Right. Why does it have to be categorized? I guess,
because some people
want to be.
They want to be in a group. They want to feel
the
accepted.
Camaraderie. Yeah.
They want to, and that is a big human thing where like you look at almost anything, people want to and also like you have people that are interested in the same things, and that kind of you all are progressing together, throwing like your little tad bits. I was thinking of rope dart right now, where I'm posting videos where like helping other people out, do other rope dart moves and stuff like that. So we all got like our own certain interests, and it's kind of goes back to what I was saying before, is like we're all figuring out what we need to know for the great universe.
It just gets crazy to me where there's campaigning for like
legislation.
Yeah, actual laws and things like that, where it's kind of going against free speech in a way. Okay. Which is odd to me because I watch a lot of Jordan Peterson. I listen to a lot of Jordan Peterson. And he's not against people doing it, but he's against the legislation of it and the idea of the free speech, like taking away from that right in a sense.
Because I remember reading about a bill being proposed in Canada where if you don't adhere to your child's gender identity, it's considered child abuse, and they could potentially take your kids away.
Child thing is weird to me because people are pushing kids towards this kind of thing. Like, oh, you play with Hot Wheels and fucking whatever.
Let's load you up with these hormones or whatever. That is a little weird. Like, I don't think
you should be giving kids hormones.
I think that's more than a little weird. I think that's
when does that point choice become that individual.
It should be their choice. It shouldn't be your parents' fucking choice. It's just like religion. It should never be your parents'
So like when
choice.
you're 14 and you start feeling like, oh, I don't want to really be rocking this body anymore. I want to start taking. Then you're able to do that. And if
even that
your
gets
own
into
choice,
territory that's weird. There, it's like if you're gonna get into sports or anything that's athletic or competitive, you're getting into this weird thing where you can't have a woman who's turned into a man that's fighting a bunch of fucking men in the UFC. Yeah. You're gonna get your ass kicked, probably.
I would let that happen, though. Actually, this is. I came up with a solution for this.
You could let it happen for sure.
Here's the solution. I think they should make a third division for UFC where you got all men's division, you got all women's division, and then you have challenge whoever you want. You can
like a catch division.
You can be a woman and you can challenge whoever you want. You can be a trans person and you can challenge whoever you want.
What I would be more scared of is men turning into women and then fighting women. That's
like,
what
imagine
I
if
would be.
John
That's
Jones...
why that's the third category. So then if women are comfortable with fighting at that,
but you have to be honest with how you have to be honest with how you identify. And
but then there's
yes,
also
exactly.
the issue,
that is the big thing.
There's also the issue with the category and the label and stuff. Is I would have to guess and say that a lot of trans people don't want to be trans; they want to be the gender they identify with.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
so it gets really confusing.
Yeah,
and like there's actually.
They almost kind of. I would imagine I'd want to almost forget that I was a man in the past. I'm a woman now. Yeah. Like boom. Like no, I don't. Nope. I'm this now. Yeah. Like that's what I would imagine if I would go through that process.
Yeah, it's. I think mentally it's out of my grasp. It's not a thing I.
I have never struggled with anything that internally. I've struggled with other things internally that maybe some other people wouldn't be able to.
We're all figuring out all the stuff that we need to figure out, and like that's their mission to like figure that stuff out, so that when we all die and everything, every possibility has been done.
Yeah, I think there's always something. I think everybody has something that no one else can understand. You know what I mean? Yeah, thank you for that, because I feel like it keeps hitting the side of it. My girlfriend has anxiety, and it's like I can't understand any of it because I don't understand the way that it feels. Because I don't know, what causes it, like what triggers it. And even in situations where it is being triggered, you don't know that it is because you're able to disguise it.
Yeah.
Yeah. People are the same way. Like, when I'm depressed, I've lost friends over it. That it's just like, they don't understand that it's not something. It's not something I can control.
Yeah.
But it's something I can push away. But eventually it's going to swallow me up, whether it's for a day or a week or a month or even longer. But it's like, it's hard to get something like that out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's something that I saw the other day. So freaking what if we had universal care where like everybody in the country was given $15,000.
Yeah, I think we were talking about this, the like universal basic income situation.
Where you're talking about that with Christian, right?
There was
something like that. I feel like it was a long time ago, maybe with Brian or something like that.
Over the past 17 years, there's been like I forget how many trillions of dollars has been just kind of lost. All like just we don't know where it went, and also all the tax money that billionaires have been avoiding by putting their money into offshore accounts and stuff like that. That could be going into the economy. I did this calculation, and just by the number that was there, the 17 trillion, that would be $40,000 per person. Like. That we could be spending, like in the United States. So now, just that alone,
would that affect the economy even more so though? If you give everybody $40,000,
they did this thing in Canada. They had a town and they give everybody $15,000 a year. Not many people quit their jobs. They actually had more people trying to get better jobs. They'll keep the job that they got and they won't leave it for a shittier job.
I mean,
They'll
it makes
get
sense.
A better job, and then you had less people on antidepressants and other stuff, and then there was less crime.
Just enough to live on.
Is basically. That in amongst itself an antidepressant? Just
is like money?
The idea of having a stability in a sense. I think it is.
Worry about the future
I think it is.
Much.
I think a lot of depression comes from that, like the stress of worrying about the future.
You enjoy playing guitar. That probably will put you in a place that you're not depressed.
You're not thinking about anything else, really. Especially when you fucking put headphones on and you just fucking are in that, and like you're in the feeling of what you're playing.
Yeah.
It's a different zone that you go into, and you're not stressed out about things. You're not. And even if you are, the music that you're playing is reflecting that.
Yep. Oh, here, let me finish this story real quick. I'll get out of New York.
I think here. How long we got here? 20 minutes. 20 minutes.
Okay. So I'm at this woman's house. She's Catholic. Lets me eat there. Wake up the next day and I'm about to go, and she's like, "Hey, you want me to do your laundry?" And I'm like, you know what? Sure. Yeah. I'll stay here for another day. This will be my rest day. This is day 6 out of my week. And ended up staying there, and I went to church with them that night, and it was this crazy cathedral. I got this pamphlet. It says there's over 100,000 angels, either painted, made out of marble, in stained glass, statues, the whole everything. It was ridiculous. Yeah. Like there was a statue for every like saint, and you're going around. She's had me light different candles in front of them, saying a different prayer. Had me go to the not the Pope, but
now do you subscribe to any religion specifically or no?
I guess I was kind of thrown around the word God, but I don't like to actually corner myself under a certain name, and that's just because I feel like a little bit everybody's got the answer a little bit.
Yeah.
And I try to connect the dots, and I try to, like I said, see both sides of the coin, see how it could all be complete bullshit, but see how there's a certain possible truth in it.
Yeah.
And
well, there's also a philosophy of being good to people.
Yeah. And
I think
it's also good to get the gears rolling in a certain way of thought, even though it may not be true. It's good to kind of be like, this is a possibility.
I mean, I always felt like if there was a higher power that judges you after you die, that they would know that I'm a good person.
Yeah.
You know? And I feel like they would know who is a good person, who isn't.
And also, freaking imagine we get to see the eyes of some crazy serial killer. Right. Why did he do that? There's a reason. There's a perfectly good reason for everything, really.
Did you encounter... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you're good. What is it?
So, no, go. You finish your thought now.
It's gone now.
Saying you're seeing the eyes of the creators through every person.
Oh, imagine you're seeing a life of a serial killer, and to see what actually pushed them to do something like that. What things happened in their life.
Right. There was an underlying cause. There was a reason.
Yep. So, and if we would walk through their shoes, would we do the same thing?
Even they could be a good person.
Yeah, I was going to ask. Well, now that's a second question. Do you believe people are inherently good or inherently evil?
Over my trip, I believe people are scared of each other, but people are good.
Yeah.
There's a lot more good people out there than bad. Every time I was camping out, or not every time, but a lot of people would be like, "Yep, you got to be careful. There's some wackos out there." And yes, there are. They're right. Yes, I understand their concern.
I think they're few and far between, though. I think the media blows that stuff up.
Yes. Yep. If there's 97 awesome people and there's 3 bad people, who are the ones that you're going to remember?
Yeah, your chances are pretty fucking good.
Who are the kids that teachers remember from their school? They probably remember the awesome students and then the shitty ones as well. Not the ones in the middle. You're just a face. That's the way I'd kind of imagine it.
And also, did you experience? Did you run into people of other faiths?
Oh yeah,
on your travels.
Yeah,
And how were those experiences?
It was good. I got at one point I stayed in this homeless shelter in Missouri, and they're trying to teach me about God and Christian stuff and stuff like that. And I kind of it was cool because I got to turn things on the table around on them. I was just like, all right, if God created everything, he also created the devil. And if God can do anything, and part of his creation is cast away from him for eternity, I don't believe in that.
That was always my argument, was that why wouldn't God just create a heaven here? You know?
I think that's what we're doing. I think that's what we are trying to eventually work towards, like possibly, where we are creating slowly.
We're not on the right fucking track. That's for sure.
It lies in Skyrim and VR.
Yeah, yeah. That might be the reptilians trying to take control of us. The Matrix and shit. Okay. So gotcha. I go to this crazy basilica. I light a bunch of candles and stuff like that. And then the next day I take off, even though it was pouring. And I get down the road about 15, 20 miles or so of walking in the rain with a poncho. And I get to this Indian reservation. And there's a gas station with a bunch of they're selling cigarettes there. And that's where everybody goes to get their cigarettes, to the Indian reservation. This guy named Randy, older guy, comes up and...
Randy.
And I'm sitting there and he just sees me and he goes, "You are way too happy to just be sitting here in the rain." And I'm like, "Well, sir, I'm skateboarding across America and blah, 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 blah." And like, yeah, I was having a good time. Like, I'm just sitting there eating some chips that I got in the convenience store. And that's another survival food there. Chips, potato chips. You eat a whole bag of those for like $1. That's like 8 servings. You get all the fat you need in the day. You burn it all off skating. The reason why they say like couch potatoes and stuff like that, you just sit, you don't do anything with all that energy. Yeah. Also, I ate peanut butter. A tablespoon of peanut butter has 7 grams of protein in it.
Peanut butter's clutch, dude.
And so I was just...
would be prepared.
Oh. Dude, he'd be so going off right now.
About every hour, tablespoon of peanut butter. Make sure you're getting enough protein. And to make sure I got enough fat, I was just eating a tablespoon of coconut oil. That has 60% of the fat you need in a day, just in a tablespoon. So a few of those a day, get all my fat, get all my protein, make sure, just fuel the tank. And he goes in the store and then he comes back out and starts talking to me and he invites me to his house. And he's like a 65-year-old dude. He still lives with his parents, but he like works on like motorcycles and stuff like that. And his parents were out of town, and he said, "Yeah, usually my parents wouldn't let anybody stay over, but yeah, they're out of town in Florida." So it was kind of funny.
It worked out.
And I smoked up there, and he was a cool dude, and dropped me off right where I was left off, and I skated and kept on going, and I made it all the way to Pennsylvania. And...
like Pennsylvania.
Jesus Christ.
I've been waiting for him to get to Pennsylvania. I thought of that one as soon as we started this part.
Oh my God.
And I was about 6 miles outside of Erie, Pennsylvania.
Was it Erie there?
No, it wasn't actually. And I'm right along the Erie coast. I've just been following that. And there's a campfire on the side of the road. So I go up and I ask, "Hey, could I camp here for the night?" And the guy's like, "Oh, this isn't my campfire, but I'm sure this is our neighbor's. I'm sure he'd let you camp here. But if you take one step past that tree, I'm going to shoot you." And I'm like, "All right, fair enough. I won't go past that tree."
Okay.
And I'm just sitting there, and then he starts warming up to me. He's like, "Oh, you got a heater in there? It's going to be getting kind of cold tonight." And he goes out, gets an extension cord, brings me a little heater to put in my tent, and frickin' then goes and brings me some food and some drinks and
shoots
stuff.
You anyway.
And he's like, "Yeah, if you want to take a leak, the outhouse is right there."
Don't take 2 more steps. Frickin' and then I wake up the next day, and the neighbors whose property it was, they gave me some food, and they took my picture. And I start skating down the road, and the guy who was saying, "Oh, I'll shoot you," he drives up right next to me, and he's like, "How you doing?" And I'm just like, "Oh, I'm doing good." And like he's like, "There's this restaurant if you go a couple blocks over. It looks like an old train." And it was like an old boxcar, pretty much. Inside, like a diner inside. It was called a dinor, though. Instead of D-I-N-E-R, it was D-I-N-O-R. It was kind of weird. And it was really cool. I talked to the owners there. And then kept on going. Going through Erie, Pennsylvania. That was kind of dense. And Pennsylvania roads are the freaking worst. Like, for real. It's not just a myth.
It sounds like in Erie you actually did end up getting shot. They shot your picture.
Ah, they did. They did.
That one was pretty bad.
Yeah,
it was like a D-.
And so I was in Pennsylvania, and I went through Erie, and I made it through Pennsylvania in one day.
That's pretty.
That's just that
awesome.
little stretch right there, and I made it to Ohio. And as soon as I got to Ohio, there's this town. I don't know how to say that. Conneaut, Conneaut.
Comcast.
And I go to this hot dog stand and I order some stuff that I'm allowed to eat, and I start telling the whole restaurant pretty much. I'm like, yeah, man, I'm skateboarding across America.
You got like a megaphone and shit. They got a microphone up there.
Skateboarding across America.
And somebody comes up to me like, are you really? And I'm like, yeah. And at this point, my end goal was Seattle, Washington. I actually ended up in Newport, Oregon. And they were from Seattle. And they're like, oh, yeah, you could stay at our house. And the dude, he was playing video games all night. And he, like... It was weird because, like, I think they let me, the husband and the wife, I think they let me use their bed to sleep. And I thought they had, like, a 2-story house. And I went up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, and the husband's still on the computer, and the wife's sleeping on the couch. So I was just like, they gave me their fucking bed? Like,
yeah, damn.
That's crazy.
It was a futon that folded out, so I was just like, oh, it's just an extra couch or whatever. And I weighed my backpack there, actually, and found out it was 65 pounds. I leave the next day and going down the road, and there's detour signs. Take a detour 30 miles. And I was just like, no way I'm fucking taking that 30-mile detour. That's a whole day. I'm just going to keep going straight. And
Did you have a goal for, like, when, like, time-wise? Like, a goal for, you
No.
just were going to just go wing it?
Yep. My goal was just to try to keep at least, like, 35 miles a day average. And I was usually doing about 40, sometimes 50. Like, good day, 65. Like, a real good day. Like, and I keep on skating, and I go into this little town, and I see all the signs like, warning, take detour. So I go to this gas station, get some chips and Gatorade, and I'm asking the dude, hey, do you think it's like I can just walk around it, like walk around a bridge if they're building it or whatever? And the guy was like Indian who owned the gas station. He's like, oh, no, you have to go around. You have to go around. And I'm like, no, fuck it. I'm just going to fucking try. I'm not listening to this guy. So I start walking down the road, and it's all covered like with dirt and everything. And orange truck is passing by. He's like, hey, this road's closed. And I'm like, do you think I can just walk? I'm skateboarding across America. Do you think I can just walk around and whatever? He's like, just don't let a train conductor see you. And so I get there, and there's
you, like,
three.
go prone, and you're like crawling across the fucking crowd and shit.
There's
You're
three.
wearing a ghillie suit.
All gillied up.
There's 3
Captain
train
Price.
tracks going across, and they're building the bridge over these train tracks. And I go into like the big ditch where the train tracks are, and I cross the first thing of train tracks, and I like take off my backpack and I throw it on top of the train. And it wasn't too high. It was kind of like about 8 feet high or so, not like a full boxcar.
Mm-hmm.
I throw it on top of the train, and as soon as I throw it on top of the train, a train goes whipping by me. I didn't even hear it. I didn't even hear any whoo, like, or any rumbling. It just goes whipping by me, and I was just like, I just fucking walked across those tracks and didn't look twice.
Jesus.
Like, holy shit. And that thing's going...
Well, you would think, I mean, you would be able to feel the vibration on a
didn't.
track or something, you know?
I didn't. It went right behind me. I didn't notice it. It scared me.
I always wondered how people would get hit by a fucking train, you know? You'd think it would be pretty obvious. that it's coming.
Well, maybe the people.
Also, I had a bunch of stuff on me, kind of moving around and stuff like that. So, and also, yeah, there was a lot of work going on. There was a big hammer hammering these things into those big ass beams into the ground. So, yeah, there was a lot of work going on. So, yeah,
maybe that was probably it. That got hit by the trains are the ones that look both ways because they hesitate. And Cass was just.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, you're supposed to not look. Just like when you cross the road.
And so I get up on top of this train and I throw my backpack down and I hear ding, 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 and the train starts moving. But it doesn't start moving quick. The thing's a bunch of box cars long. It slowly starts going and I'm like, oh, I climb down, jump off. And I start coming out of this ditch and there's like 3 or 4 dudes with hard hats on looking at like a schematics map. And they're like, look up and they put down the map. They're looking at me weird. And I'm like, I'm skateboarding across America. And they're like, what? And they talked to me for a little bit. And that was kind of funny. Like just walking out of the randomly. I kind of scared them because they weren't expecting me to come out of there.
Yeah.
And then I kept on going down the road. I stopped at this ice cream shop, if I remember correctly. They let me eat there for free. That was pretty cool.
Got 10 minutes. What time did you want to leave?
I want to be home by like 10 o'clock or so. Oh. So I'll probably leave right around like 9:30, quarter of.
And there we go, Ohio. Then I kept skating down the road. And I get to this house, and I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan. I saw somebody had a bunch of Lord of the Rings stickers on their door. And I was like, oh, I'll go ask this person, see if I can camp out there. And they're looking at me weird, kind of like their door half open. And I was just like, hey, can I camp here or whatever? And she's like, oh, my landlord won't let me, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, okay.
You should have just shown them your Lord of the Rings.
I showed him my Lord of the Rings tattoo on my back.
That won their heart right there.
And so I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll go to the landlord that she said lives right next door. Ask them. They weren't cool with it. So he was like, oh, there's a Walmart. You could camp there. I go down the road. And as I'm skating, I hear this guy yelling at me, where are you coming from? And I look around. And I see this guy, and he's like working in a machine shop and yelling out from his garage, where are you coming from? And I tell him, and he told me that he's seen a bunch of people like cross-country bikers, and he's seen somebody ride that road on a horse with like backpacks on and stuff like that. So it's kind of a route that people take when they're going.
It's like a flyover state.
Yeah. It's right on the coast here, so like people that are going around the...
oh, yeah, okay,
so
I see what you're saying.
It'll be... like kind of a lot of traffic for people that are traveling.
Yeah, I've been thinking about going to Green Bay to go to a Packers game, and it's like I'd have to do that. Like I'd have to go around Lake Michigan, basically, you know, like go around a big lake, or you just take a flight, you know. But obviously you can't take a flight on a skateboard, so unless you can ollie fucking super high.
They let me into their house. They let me wash up. They had a camper. They let me camp out in their camper. One of their kids gave me this like charger that you charge the charger and then your phone can plug into that.
Yeah, those are dope.
So that was pretty cool. He gave me that, and they ordered me a pizza. So I got to eat some pizza. What was on that pizza? It was a Pizza Hut pizza, and I got the stuffed crust.
Oh, Jesus.
You gotta do that.
I'm a pineapple person though too, so I might lose you guys there.
No, okay. Pineapple's amazing.
Pineapple is superior.
Okay, good. I love pineapple on pizza.
Yeah, if you don't like, you're not allowed on this podcast. It's one of the first questions we ask you.
And then I leave there, and I got about 65 miles till I get to Cleveland, and I have an aunt, or she's actually my cousin, and she has a really nice house. This is the aunt that I stayed with before, her cousin, and she has like a really nice multi-million-dollar mansion, and beautiful pieces of art everywhere from herself and other artists and stuff. And I ended up staying there.
Ross paintings.
I ended up staying there for like almost a week, and just catching up with her. She bought me like a new pair of Adidas Sambas, which I was going to buy like there, which was really cool. She does this. She had cancer after the first time I left, and now she was good. and she kind of changed her diet around. She was doing like a liquid diet for the first part of the day, and then she would eat one real meal like at night. So she would blend everything up the night before. One, like her breakfast was like this chocolate shake, had like kale in it and everything, and she made me a bunch too. Like she was doing me with her routine too, and it was really good. Like I couldn't even tell that there was like greens, and it just tasted like a chocolate shake. And then for lunch had this like berry one, and they were all just in the fridge, just chilling.
People can make anything taste like anything.
Yeah,
so.
You can eat anything with butter.
And so I was doing that, and then I had to take off. I skated through Cleveland. I contacted ABC, and they met me at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They interviewed me in front of there. I got on
Which one? CNN?
Yep, I got CNN in 2012. No, I got on Fox News in front of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, not ABC. ABC, I got interviewed in Lima, Ohio. And
yeah, you wouldn't have been on Fox News if you were wearing that hat, though.
Yeah, no. This was before. I'm grateful that I got to skate across the country before frickin' all this.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it would have been hell because
You wouldn't have made it through West Genesee Street.
Frickin', and I skate through Cleveland, and that was got some dicey neighborhoods there. And I make it to Lorraine, and I skated through this town before because this is the same road that Billy and I skated on before. And I go up to this family, and they're definitely redneck, and they're out next to their trailer, and I ask them if I could camp out, and they're like, "Oh, well, the person who owns this trailer park just died. We would let you, but there's this other guy, he's not all there in his head. He thinks he owns the trailer park, and he'd probably like jump on your tent or something or whatever. So here, we got the keys to this trailer. We'll let you stay in there." And open up the trailer. It's literally like everything's thrown about. There's like carpet ripped up, nails everywhere. No, like there's insulation hanging out of the walls. Yeah. It's just trash.
It's a little haggard.
I was just staying in a multi-million-dollar mansion the night before, and now I'm staying in a trailer that I could buy for $500, and it was crazy. And I wake up in the middle of the night and I hear people arguing, like fighting outside and stuff like that. I wake up the next day and I'm like, fuck. Like. And at the time there was no lights in there. I wake up and there's leaves everywhere throughout the house. There's like a trail of, I wake up, there's a trail of ants like in front of me.
Jesus.
I'm laying on the ground.
They're like carrying you and shit.
I slept with the padlock on my wrist that night because I was scared like somebody was gonna come into the trailer and fuck with me or something.
Yeah, that's sketchy.
And
where is this then?
This is Lorraine, Ohio. It's about 60 miles west on the coast of Cleveland.
I don't know where you want to leave off.
So
we can remember.
I'll finish off at Sandusky right here, and I leave the next day, and it's raining out, and this big guy walking on sidewalks looking at me weird, and frickin' as I'm walking by, I'm like, "Hey, what's up, dude?" And he like reaches in his pocket really quick, and I like pull back my skateboard like I'm about to hit him, and I'm like, "What the fuck's up, dude?" And he like looks at me weird, and he starts backing up, and then he like turns around and then walks away. So it was like, I don't know if he was reaching for a gun or hell, he could be reaching for some gum, but
yeah.
And that was scary. So I go to the gas station that's about like a quarter mile or so down the road, wait for it to dry. I'm just sitting there waiting, looking at this map. And somebody comes up, gives me $40 just for sitting there.
Here you go.
Winner.
And probably because they think I'm homeless. And I keep on going down the road, and I get to this barbecue joint. And since I'm vegetarian, I talk to the owner. I'm like, "Hey, is there anything you can make me that I could have that?" And they're like, "Yeah, I can make you a quesadilla." He lets me eat for free. And he's like, hey, where are you camping out tonight? And I was like, oh, I'm going to try to get to Sandusky tonight. And he's like, oh, I got a friend in Sandusky. Let me give you their number, and you can camp out there. Their name's Jamie. I'm like, oh, cool. So I'm texting Jamie, and I'm like, hey, I'm about 20 miles outside of Sandusky. Hey, I'm about 10 miles outside, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, I'm not going to be back in town till 11. So, and I eventually get to Sandusky, and it was dark out. And as soon as it gets dark and I get to the bar, it starts raining. So perfect timing again. And I'm hanging out in this bar, and I'm like, all right, I'll get some food, have a few drinks, and get about 3 or 4 beers in my system. And this like gorgeous hot woman comes up to me, and she goes, are you Cassidy? And I'm like, yes. And then it clicks, and I'm like, Jamie. It's a girl's name.
Right.
The whole time I thought I was texting a dude. And so that was kind of funny.
Yeah,
and
it's one of those names that's either or.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I bought her a drink, got her some food and stuff like that. And she brought me to her house, and she starts reading my like horoscope. And it was the scariest, accurate, it was crazy. It was just spot on. It was like, you are on a journey right now, blah, blah, blah. Like, It was just reading my life. And I was just like, what the hell?
That's crazy.
I wake up the next day, and she was gone. She said I could eat whatever was in her fridge. And I ate a bunch of blueberries, and I ate an apple. And as I'm eating the apple, I look, and the center of the core was rotten. So I was like, spit out what I could. Skate down the road, go to a diner, and I keep skating down the road. Somebody pulls over, hands me $20, doesn't even say anything, and then keeps on driving down the road. I go another 40 miles down the road, and I get this Atkins, and I start having explosive diarrhea, and I start throwing up. And I accidentally set my camp right up next to railroad tracks. So the whole night I'm throwing up, I'm shitting my brains out. I'm fucking running back and forth to this gas station, and I'm fucking waking up every 10 minutes because these trains are going by, and it ding, 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 like right next to a road.
That's bullshit. And they're loud anyway, just going by.
And so I didn't really sleep that well. Woke up the next day, went to a diner, and they let me eat at the diner for free. And I didn't even say anything. I was so tired. I was out of it. And I'll leave off there. That'll be a good spot in Attica.
I think we'll do next week. We got Brian on, I think, or we're doing it this weekend or whatever. Friday. Yeah, and then
I get my schedule tomorrow.
We can do it afterwards.
Definitely know for sure.
Yeah, whenever you guys. Yeah, I'm pretty much free right now.
Yeah, it sucks to have to leave off on it. You know.
No, it's okay. I'll remember Attica, the train station.
We could have a 12-part podcast right here if we kept going. All right, man. Thank you for being on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Fun.
That was fun.
Yeah, it was fucking great.
Hell yeah. Gnarly.
I'll get the fuck out.
All right.
We'll see you guys. Clear Shots Podcast is available on any of your favorite podcasting websites or applications. You can check us out at clearshotspodcast.com to hear any of the episodes. Also, follow us on Facebook. I think it's facebook.com/clearshotspodcast to get there. And you can also check us out on Twitter at ClearShotsPod. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.